Hey folks, welcome. Today we're going back to 2012. We're going to talk about an action thriller called Confession of Murder. Yeah, it's a South Korean film, which, to be honest, a lot of people have not heard about. Now, there is a Japanese remake that happened in 2017 called Memoirs of Murder, but today we're going to be talking about the OG Confession of Murder. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button if you haven't already. So let's go. The premise starts with the serial killer that the authorities have known to have killed at least, 10 women, including the wife of a police officer, a detective. So they want this guy. They really want to catch him. And one night they happen to be closing in on him, trying to trap this killer, but they fail. And all of a sudden, the killer vanishes, gone with the wind. Fast forward 15 years, and apparently there's a statute of limitations for when you can charge someone for a crime, and I suppose 15 years is it, and that has now expired. So out comes this mysterious man, steps into the spotlight, and admits that he is the prolific serial killer from back way when. Now, he even releases a book detailing the crimes he's committed, and it's very detailed. He does meets and greets, press conferences, and all that. He becomes an overnight celebrity. What does he want, though? Why now? Well, he wants to atone for his past crimes. He's seeking forgiveness from his victims' families. That's wild, right? Yeah, yeah. Now, the whole nation at this point seems to be divided. Some, some are horrified. Some are actually supportive, and then others pretty much become fangirls, groupies for this guy because he is pretty handsome, he's charming and witty. And so, the movie gets going and it plays with this idea. Is this, is this person, righteous in their intentions? Is it true that they're looking for forgiveness, or is there some ulterior motive? And it becomes this cat and mouse game between, the detective, whose wife was, one of the victims, and is still a cop. He gets involved. He doesn't believe that, this killer is remorseful at all, but needs to also walk a fine line between duty and, being true to his own self as well. His rage is wanting to seek the truth. And plus, there's this added pressure of the police actually needing to protect this killer from the public, especially, from those that want justice for the victims. So it's a pretty cool concept here. You've got a good dynamic between, killer versus, I suppose, a broken detective. Which side is going to win? It's got its flaws, this film, it really does, but it is an exceptionally fun film to watch. Let me jump into a few of the positives for you. Now, the style. And to be honest, if you've seen any, South Korean action thriller from the 2000s onwards, you'll get it. You'll get the style. Think, A Bittersweet Life. I Saw the Devil, The Man from Nowhere, hyper stylized, very charismatic characters. You've also got all the archetypes very clearly laid out, although there is plot twists in this film, as many South Korean action thrillers have. The way they talk, dress, move, it's all easy on the eyes. Slick, I guess, is an appropriate word to use. And hey, that moves right into the action set pieces and stunt work. Slick. Again, seeing South Korean films from the 2000s onwards, they were at the pinnacle, the top when it came to, thrilling action scenes, whether it was close combat or using weapons. They did an excellent job with filming these scenes without having the audience, sort of lose track of what was happening, and that tended to happen with Hollywood films in the early 2000s, even up to, I guess, the mid to late 2010s. I think John Wick was, I suppose, the start of having these slick close combat action scenes and gun fu and all that without you as an audience member going, what is happening on screen? So pretty impressive work here in this film as well. I mean, the opening scene starts off pretty bold. It's a nighttime scene, where the killer is evading, the police, and and makes his initial getaway. But you're following this whole scene through narrow streets, dark alleyways, and you're just like you're sucked into it. There's this isolation, and you don't lose track, which is great. You don't lose track of what's happening. And actually, most of the action scenes are at night, and yeah, as I mentioned, they do a great job here. There's a little side note. There is a bit of cheeky humor sprinkled throughout. There is. Not that it takes away from the dark subject matter, but I think it's important to have little bits of humor throughout films of this nature. It helps. It gives you a little respite. It pulls you out of the full depression state of mind. Also, to add to this, there's a little, I guess, social commentary going on here. The film takes aim at the media, especially the idolization of celebrity and power. I mean, we've seen it even recently. Where killers, especially when they're somewhat attractive, they seem to get more attention, especially from the ladies. Yeah, but there's a lot of fans, I suppose, groupies that they get, sympathizers. And hell, this film even goes one step further, sets up like a talk show debate between the detective and the serial killer, which is a fun moment in the film. It's actually played out like a sporting event. It's all for entertainment. It's crazy, right? All for entertainment. One thing I will say, it is hard to talk about this film without spoiling anything because there are some major plot twists in this film, throughout this film, in fact. And and the problem is it relies heavily on the mystery and investigation. So it's better for you all to go into this with just the premise that I've given and some of the comments about the action set pieces and the slick nature of this film. And if you've seen South Korean films, from the 2000s onwards, you're probably going to enjoy this. For me, it's a solid 8 out of 10. It's got its flaws, but like I said earlier, it is a fun film to watch. Highly recommended. Thank you all for listening. Hey, enjoy your day. Till next time.